back to Kabir Cool. Well, my name is Kabir, but anyways. Today we'll be doing part 2 of creating a scientific calculator with Python. Today we will be adding more operations and more functionality to our calculator. We will also be editing the formatting of our code today. This video is very important. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I recommend you watch part 1, and I will also be releasing part 3 in not too long, so make sure to watch that as well. That will finish up this video. So let's get started. Oh, what? Why am I in a comic book? Oh, what's happening? I might have watched too much Marvel. Alright guys, so first I just want to show you what we'll be doing today. So I'm just going to open up sticky notes, and over here we'll only be doing some of these. Don't worry, don't get too freaked out by this long list. Some of these things we'll be doing today, some more of these things we'll be doing in part 3. So today we'll be doing GCF, we'll be doing logarithms, we will also be adding powers to our we'll be adding powers to our calculator. So first thing I want you to do is I want you to just make sure you know what folders your code is in, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to type cd and then the name of those folders in order. So first, so like for example, if I wanted to access my code, first I'd go to Documents, then I'd go to Coding, then I'd go to YouTube, then I'd go to Python, and then I'd go to Calculator, okay? So I have to remember that in order. So first Documents, then Coding, then YouTube, then Python, then Calculator. And you have to type CD behind each one of these folders. And once you've done that, I just need you to type code space dot, and make sure you have a coding editor like Visual Studio Code that you can use. Otherwise, this won't work. It might just open in Notepad or something like that. Press enter, and then it'll open that folder in Visual Studio Code for you. And then some of the stuff should look familiar, so ignore these files. Only just look at the calc.py and history.txt file. You won't have to worry about this calc.spec or any of these folders until part 3. So this is what the code's going to look like at the end of today's lesson. And let me just open this one up. And these are the functions that we'll be doing today. I'm just going to quickly explain this to you, because as you know, just copying and pasting doesn't really teach you anything, especially if you're trying to learn something. Copying and pasting, if you understand the code and then type it from your memory, type it from your understanding, type it out of your creation. First you have to understand what all this code does, and then you have to try to, the best way to learn coding and to do coding, once you know a good amount of it, is to understand what's happening, and just all you have to do is remember what's happening. You just have to know what's happening, and then the rest you can create from your head. So once you know what's happening, you know what to type in Visual Studio Code, you know what to type in whatever editor you're using. So I'm just going to quickly explain what's happening. So first you need to import time. So if you remember, we imported math and OS. We're going to be importing time so that we can use the time module, so we can tell Python to wait for a certain amount of time or do stuff like that. Now, all of this code right here should look familiar. This code and this code should all look familiar. But I want you to remove the if statement and replace it with this. And the reason is because as we add more and more functions to our calculator, the closer we get to, in fact, let me just rephrase that. There's a limit in Python to the amount of if statements you can have. So as we add more functions, we can't really keep on using if statements, because we're just going to pass that limit and it's going to create errors in our code, and our code just won't work, okay? So you need to do this right here. And what this does is this creates a function named factorial. So what this is going to do is this is going to tell the compiler, or the Python compiler, that hey, factorial, this function in factorial, this is how you do it. All right, it's almost like you're teaching a baby how to walk. Well, not really. You're teaching a smart baby that already knows and can understand English how to walk. You're telling Python, this is how you find the factorial of a number. First you gotta ask them, then you gotta do this and that and that. That's what happens when you create a function. Now if you want to run this code, you have to do factorial parentheses. And what that's gonna do is that's when you type this right here, what Python does is it says, factorial. Did he create a function called factorial? And we'll be like, yes, he did. This is factorial. And what it's going to do is it's going to run all of this code. So when I type this, it runs all of this code. And what that does is it makes it shorter so that if I wanted to do something, I don't have to copy and paste this long code each time. Now, this is what the code looks like, but we're going to change some stuff up as well. So, like with what this code looks like. So first, I want you to work on GCF. All right, I just want to show you how GCF works right here. So we ask them for two numbers. The two numbers they want to find the GCF of. And then we do this code right here so that we can, tell Python these are the two numbers we want to find the GCF of. And then we just type it into the history file. And then we tell Python to just wait for 5 seconds. And similar thing happens here in logarithms. Now make sure you understand how logarithms work. I'm just going to explain real quick. So, I'm just going to do this right here. So, those of you who don't know, because I believe there are younger audiences watching this video, if let's just say your teacher gives you a question like 5 to the power x equals 25, and she asks, so what is x here, kiddos? Now most of you know, yeah, it's 2, but as you get into decimals and all of that, it's going to become more complex. So there's an easier way to write this out. So let me just, I don't know why I got rid of that. There's an easier way to write this. I can just write this as, one second, as log base 5, 25 equals x. Okay, and as you start actually learning logarithms, like once your teacher teaches you how to do logarithms, then you'll understand that this right here is the same thing as log 25 divided by log 5. But you don't need to know that. All you need to know is that this right here is the same thing as this. Okay? And it's a little easier to solve in this form. Okay? So in that situation, 5 was the base and 25 was the outcome. And x was the exponent you're trying to solve for. So we ask, what's the base? What's the outcome? And then we tell Python, all right, this is the base right here, and this is the outcome, and then it tells you what the exponent is. And then we just clear the screen. As always, we print the answer so that the person who's trying to calculate knows what the answer is, of course. And then we just write it into the history file, and again, wait for 5 seconds. Now this powers thing right here is also pretty simple. We ask for the base, we ask for the exponent, and then what we do is we multiply. We do that. We do base to the power exponent. Now, if I just had one asterisk here, that would mean base times exponent. So, for example, in Python, 5 times 3, the way you would write that in Python is 5, and then this asterisk 3. Or I don't know, I forgot what that symbol is called. If I wanted to do 5 to the power 3, instead of that, I'd simply do double asterisk 3. So right here, when I did a double asterisk, I'm saying find base to the power exponent, and that's the answer. Then we have to clear the screen, print the answer, do the history stuff, which you already know about if you watched part 1, and then we wait for 5 seconds. Great. So we've got that done, and that's about it for now. Later on, we'll be adding more functionality to our code, to our Python calculator, And if you test any of this code right now, it won't work. Again, we're just teaching Python. We're just telling Python, this is how you find the factorial. This is how you find the GCF. And um, there's a different way to do this, which I'll explain maybe in the next video. So there are different ways to write this code. There's like another way to write this code, which I'll explain to you guys in the next video. And we'll also be adding more functions, as I said before. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. If you want to give me feedback, or if you want to tell me how I can do better, please tell me in the comments section. I love feedback, and I love improving my videos for you guys, because you guys are the best. So that's gonna be it for now. You guys are great.